Welcome to another episode of the Pearce Brothers. I'm Joe, and today we are going to be doing Average Joe's Top 5 EDC Folding Knife video. So I did my fixed blade video a couple of weeks ago, so if you're looking for a fixed blade, go check that video out. In that video, I specified that my fixed blades are my primary defensive weapon, and then my folders are for like a utility knife. But that being said, a folding knife can still be used as a defensive weapon if you needed it, but it would just wind up being in third place because gun, fixed blade, and then folder after that. So really a folder isn't going to be my first choice for a defensive knife, but if you prefer a fold over a fixed blade, there's some good options in here. And just because I don't use my folders as a defensive knife doesn't mean they could not be used as such, and I still kind of prefer a defensive style knife. So even though all they wind up doing most of the time is opening packages and that type of thing, they're still great knives and can be used for whatever purpose you want them to be. But these are my top 5 EDC folding knives. So we're gonna start off with an honorable mention. The only reason it comes in as an honorable mention is because it's a little oversized. This is the Cold Steel Espada. As you can see, it's pretty large, 7.5-inch blade. The only reason it's not in the top 5 is because it is a little bit too big as just a normal carry knife. That being said, it is still very carryable. You might ask where. So I'm actually carrying another version right here in the appendix. This is the G10 handled version, whereas this one has the fancy polished, shiny micarta and all that stuff. So again, that's a great option if you're one of those guys that carries a Glock 34 appendix and then you need a knife to carry when you can't carry your Glock, this is the knife for you. It's huge and it's a very cool knife. And if you grip it, there's a lot of different gripping positions because it's such a large knife. You can grip it two-handed, you can grip it in the middle, in the front. If you grip all the way in the back, I mean, you've got more reach with that knife than you would like a Bowie knife. So again, really big, great, awesome knife. So that's honorable mention number 1. Honorable mention number 2 is going to be the Cold Steel 4 Max Scout. This is the more affordable version of the Scout folder that they do. This one's around like 90 bucks, give or take, if you get it on sale. I think I paid like 80 bucks for it. So really affordable. Great knife. It's a big knife. If you got big hands, you're going to be able to grip that thing very well. It is equipped with their triad lock, just like the Espada is. That's one thing about Cold Steel folders is they have really tough locking mechanisms. Their triad lock is probably their most famous lock. They just came out with a newer style lock that I'll hit on a little bit later. But those triad locks are just going to be extremely tough and durable, and they're never going to fail on you. So that's the other honorable mention. So now to get into the top 5. Number 5, well, these were kind of a hard choice for me because I love knives, and it's really hard to pick, you know, your favorites. So that being said, you know, and I don't have any out the fronts in this video. This is a Cobra Tech, just out the front knife, because I wanted to focus more on folders. We might do an OTF video at some point. But coming at number 5, and this is ironically also the most expensive knife, or near the most expensive knife on the list, is the Benchmade 940 Osborne. The reason it comes in at number 5, I mean, I know this is a really popular knife in the world, and I really like it. It's equipped with, they call it the Axis lock. Don't quote me on that, but it's it's a very small knife, and I prefer a little bit larger knife for my folders. So again, a great knife though. It's extremely lightweight. This one is equipped with a deep pocket carry clip, but that locking mechanism on there is extremely tough and durable. It's never going to fail on you. Yeah, great high quality knife here. It has a really high quality steel, excellent locking. It's either their Axis, I believe it's the Axis, that's what they call it. But they were kind of the first people to come up with that knife or that style lock. And again, Benchmade, they make great knives, but this is kind of like, this is a very popular knife in the knife world. And again, the only reason it comes in at number 5 is just a little bit small. So if it had an extra ½ inch on the blade and the handle, it would probably be ranked quite a bit higher. But there you have it. The Benchmade 940 comes in at number 5. Number 4, we have a newer cold steel knife. This is the cold steel Carve. Very cool knife. It's got this Viking style blade on it, which is very cool. It's not a super high quality steel. This thing comes in around $100, so it's cheap. This one is the newer cold steel lock. It's called the Axis lock, or Atlas. Axis is Benchmade. Atlas is cold steel. They're all the same style. They just kind of tweak it to make it their own, you know? So again, really high quality lock on there. That's not going to fail on you. And that's one thing, like a folder knife, I'm not a fan of a liner lock on a blade. I prefer either a good, just traditional lock on the back, like the cold steel Triad lock, great lock, or this style Atlas or Axis lock on the Benchmade. They're going to be way more reliable, and they can handle a lot more pressure and weight. So you have a way less chance of breaking. And that cold steel, I just love the shape of that blade. So it comes in at number 4. I haven't carried it a whole lot yet. I just got it some time ago, but still it has made its way into my top rotation quite quickly, because who doesn't love a cool Viking style blade? So there's that one. Coming in at number 3, we have the Cold Steel Voyager series. Now they make these in all different styles. I've got 2 of them here with me. These are the XL versions. So they've got a longer blade. This is the Tonto. This is their Vaquero version. They've also got like a clip point. And anyways, they come serrated, non-serrated. And then they have the, I believe this is anyways, they have a 4-inch blade. And I think this is a 6-inch. Is that right? Yeah, 6-inch blade. So these are a bit bigger knife. So if you don't like a bigger knife, then don't go with this. Go with the smaller version of this, which is quite a bit smaller and more carryable. But these, again, have the cold steel Triad lock. Very great knives. And again, because they come in different sizes, blade shapes, and types of blade, whether it's serrated or plain, you can pretty much pick your style. And they're very affordable, coming in at way less than $100. You get the smaller versions for around the $40 range, and the bigger versions up to the $60 or $70 range, kind of depending on your options. So again, extremely affordable knives, and very tough and durable. They have that Triad lock, so they're not going to fail you in that area. Again, if you're wanting a defensive knife, whether it be like a Tonto for stabbing or the Vaquero style for slashing, a great option. But again, I mostly use my folders as a utility knife. So these will open any package you have. Coming in at number 2, we have another very cool folder, and that is the Microtech MSI. It stands for Microtech Standard Issue. This one, again, has that Atlas or Axis style lock. I don't know what Microtech calls their lock, but that's going to be a very tough and durable blade. And it's going to hold up against pretty much everything that you put that thing against. It sort of has that Viking style blade with the false or reverse Tonto style with kind of a flat edge on it. So again, a very cool knife. This one is quite a bit bigger than the Benchmade, which is why it made its way up quite a bit higher into the list. It's almost the perfect size folder in my opinion. And again, it's made of high quality steel, really nice looking knife, and it feels really good in your hands. And that lock, again, it's not going to fail you because it's not a liner lock. So if you carry a liner lock knife, there's nothing against that, but I prefer a knife that I can use and use it hard and not have to worry about that lock failing me. So there you have it. The Microtech MSI is in at number 2. Now, before I get to number 1, I have one more honorable mention, and this one is one of my personal favorite knives. The only reason it didn't make the top 5 is because there's all these other great knives. So another honorable mention is the Cold Steel Immortal. This is a very cool knife. In fact, I mean, it could have easily been in my top 5, but it's a little more expensive. It's got the S35 VN steel. It's quite a bit higher quality steel than some of the other cold steels. They no longer make this knife, so it's hard to get. If you have one, good for you, because they're awesome. It has this gladius style blade on it. So it'd make a great defensive knife if you needed it. As you can tell, the handle is big enough that you can get a really great grip on there. Again, if you have big hands, that's going to be great. That blade's probably about 3.5 inches long. But again, very awesome knife, great blade, high quality steel, the triad lock. So another excellent option. It just didn't make the list because my folders are mostly utility knife, and this is pretty much a defensive knife. I mean, you can still open any package with that. It's going to handle it just fine. And great puncturability. Cold Steel did a video on this knife when they first, when they introduced it, all their torture tests. They literally cut a hole in the roof of a car with that blade and didn't destroy the edge. So again, super durable, super tough. It is that S35 VN American steel, so nice and tough and durable, holds an edge well, and really tough locking mechanism on there. So another honorable mention, could have easily been in my top 5. In reality, we could call this my top 8 or top 7, whatever it is, because all of these knives are in there. Coming in at number 1, the only reason this one hits number 1 is because I've carried it the most over the last couple of years. It is the Cold Steel Spartan. No fancy steel on this guy. It's the AUS 10A, so it's not going to be super tough and durable, but it's still a decent steel for a knife, and it makes it very affordable. I got this knife on sale for like 45 bucks, so very great price, and it's got a cool name, the Spartan. Who doesn't love a Spartan? So as you can see, it's got great shape to the handle. You can really get a locked-in grip with that, so there's no way that thing is slipping out of your hand if you were using that. Has a nice deep belly on the blade for any kind of slashing cut, and again, it's going to open any package you need. But you know, like I said, my folders aren't really a defensive knife for me. I prefer a fixed blade. So if I can carry a gun, I always have a gun. And then I always have a fixed blade with me. So if I can't carry a gun, my fixed blade becomes my primary source of defense, and then the folder would be the last resort defense. So the chances of having to use my folder in a defensive scenario are pretty low. The chances of having to use a gun in a defensive scenario are pretty low in general, although the world is getting a lot crazier, so be prepared. But yeah, so that's never bring a knife to a gunfight, always carry your gun, but then also train, you know. And the reason I carry a fixed blade and not a folder for defense is because I don't have to open it. You just whip it out and bam, it's ready to go, ready to use. Whereas a folder, you have to get it out, make it unfold, and then use it and hope that that lock gets locked. So there's just extra steps. So by using a fixed blade, I reduce that step. But again, like I said, these would be the backup to the fixed blade. So hopefully I'd never have to get to the folder for defense. But all of these knives would make a good defensive knife if you had to. So there you have it. I mean, almost all of these knives in that top 5 are under 100 bucks. The Microtech is a little bit more, like way more than 100. So that one's expensive, and then the Benchmade also expensive. But all of the Cold Steel knives are very affordable. Cold Steel has the great reputation in the folding knife world, and they come extremely sharp. They're durable. Their locking mechanisms are great. So they really are a working man's knife, and I would recommend them to anybody looking to get a good knife to carry. So there you have it. Those are Average Joe's top 5 folder knives with a few honorable mentions mixed in there. So I'll throw the links to all of these down in the description. And as always, thank you for watching. We appreciate your support. Make sure and share with your friends. We're really trying to grow the channel. So if you can share with anybody, we appreciate that a lot. And then subscribe, comment, let us know what you want to see in the future. And we'll see you next time on the Pearce Brothers.